I don't cry when it rains no more, or I get dirt on my shoes. I don't mind climbing 8 more floors, 'cause these stairs are all heading to you. I don't wait for tomorrow's sunshine when I feel it today. But when it's cold in the dead of winter, remember that snow melts away. One more cold drink, one more roll, one more dance for the doors get closed. Please remember, enjoy the show. Let's get happy before we get old. We don't need plans or a fancy agenda. Let's just see where it goes. We got no care for the way people stare at the dust and the dirt on our clothes. Hey, my friend, we'll never say
Hey, everybody, calling into the Cajun Cooking Experience. What'd you say, Darren? I'm Spuddy, and man, we're going to cook something tonight. I did it last year, and it was real popular. A Jambalaya Po-Boy. Now, we're going to do everything I do to cook a jambalaya, except we're not going to add rice. Now, if you want to add rice and make a rice on your po-boy, that's fine. You do it. But everything I'm going to do tonight is going to lead up to building that jambalaya. So we're going to make a jambalaya po-boy, but not only a po-boy. What else you want to serve this on? A baked potato. You can make a wrap with it. Make some wraps. And the reason you serve it on quinoa, rice, anything you want to do. If you're going to serve it on rice, just to make your jambalaya. Well, yeah, Rock, hey, I'm looking good. Thank you, Rock. So the thing is, what made me do this is it's getting to be parade time. People always looking for something different to bring to parades. This is an awesome parade food. What'd you say, Lucy Troska? And this is a really good thing to pack up, cook it that morning before you go, and then make some little wraps or make some po' boys, wrap them in foil, and put them in a little ice chest and carry it with you. Well, yeah, Kevin. So that is what you want to do. This is some really good, instead of bringing all kind of trash, this has a lot of protein. It's really going to hold you over during the parade, and some really good flavor. And it goes with beer, water, soft drinks, whatever you want to cook it with. Now I'm going to do this a little different tonight. I'm going to cook this like I cook my turkey necks. I'm going to bring the meat in first. And the reason for that, I want to brown this meat. What'd you say, Brian? Look, this is deer meat I'm actually bringing in. We're just showing you we can do this with anything we want. Just put a little sausage. We're going to add a little pork with it. These are all good meats to stew with. That's all good stewing meat. What's up, Big Pootie? Man, we want to brown all this good. And this is what I do when I'm smothering turkey necks. I always brown them first. A lot of stuff that I want to smother down. And the smothering is the same thing as the stewing process. We're just going to take this and stew it and make us a good gravy. What'd you say, Breland? I'm going to bring the Londui in. So like I said, I'm doing all the meat right now. I'm not bringing this in. So to make my stock, I took a Boston butt, the bone of a Boston butt. Usually I do it with smoked ones. I just did a regular, fresh Boston butt bone. And after I boiled it, this is meat that was left over. I wasn't going to throw it away. Hell, I took that meat off and we're going to use it now. And one other meat I have in here, a little chicken thigh meat. So it's going to be really, really meaty, what we're doing here. And the reason why I brown this meat, it's going to give it a better flavor at the end of the day. A lot of people, when they make their jambalayas, they'll take the time to actually brown each meat, put it on the side, then bring their onions on the top and pick up all that green meat that this meat's going to leave behind. Basically, what we're going to do tonight. There's so many ways to do this, and I didn't have to do it this way, but this is just the green meat. That's right, Lucy. But this is just a good way to get some extra flavor into this gravy that you're going to make the po' boy with. Now, the stewing process. The stewing process has been around for like 10,000 years. So it goes way back. So looking at, as soon as man discovered that fire, that he can learn how to make fire, and they can cook stuff over a fire. They were stewing stuff. Well, Michael, what's happening? What's up, Hollywood? Thank you, brother. Thank you, Michael. Me and the stew looking good, I guess. So you just want to keep browning this. And this is when you want your fire a little high, because you want to get some good browning on this. You want to really get some good brown on this, and you want to scorch it. You want to scorch the bottom of that pot a little bit. And once we do that, and they have that little green meat at the bottom of the pot, man, we're going to bring them onions in and pick all that good flavor off the bottom of the pot. And this will really helps make the gravy. Now, what's going to happen, this meat has a lot of water in it, so we're going to have to cook the water out of it first. And everything in this pot is nothing but heavenly flavor. I'm telling you, this is nothing but flavor in this pot. Now, evidence goes back for us for making stews or stewing. It goes back to Japan. They were making seafood stews as far back as 5,000 BC. So this goes way, way back. And they did all theirs with seafood. Hey, Mildred, good to see you on tonight. Then in the Babylonian Empire, that's around 2100 BC, they did lamb stews. So it's going back. And then listen to some of the ingredients. We still use these ingredients today. Barley cakes. I guess that's barley. Onions, leeks, garlic, and milk. I guess the milk was to make it, give it a rich flavor. So, and the milk back then wouldn't have been like milk now. You had the real fat in there. What you say, oh boy, oh Dino? Oh man, this stuff is smelling good already. We ain't even got started yet. Anytime you go fry down some meat, it's gonna smell good. But the practice of simmering ingredients goes back, like I said, in a liquid, goes back 10,000 years. 10,000 BC. 10,000 years ago. It predates pottery. They used to use the stomachs of the wildlife that they killed, or the shells like on a turtle, and they would put water in there, and they would just let those meats simmer. Before they invented fire, they would have to eat everything raw. There was no way to cook it. So once they had fire, they could smoke it, they could simmer it, they could boil it, and they can stew it like we're doing now. And a lot of times when I go look at old recipes and I look at history of food, except for South Louisiana, we make a stew. First you make a roux, and then we build a stew. It's because, you know, we had some very Catholic families, and like my grandmother really, really followed her religion. She had 12 kids. That was common. Well, you made that roux to have that stew, that chicken stew or whatever you were cooking, spread out amongst all those 12 buzzards you had at the table. But this stewing process, a lot of people, when they have all the kids are gone and they're down just a husband and wife or just a couple in the house, and they go, man, I'm not going to cook because, you know, we can't eat all that. This is the way to do it, because you can cook it and you're not cooking in huge amounts, and you can have enough for a couple of days. And if you cook, you're not going to be able to cook for 20 people like this. If you do, you better have some big pots. So I'm going to cook for 20 people. I'm going to make a stew. But if I'm going to make a small batch up to 10 people, 12 people, this is the way to do it. So I make a lot of my meals like this, the stewing process. You can call it stewing, call it smothering, call it étouffée, whatever you want to call it. But once man learned how to make fire, and he would take that and slow boil that, and would do it over bone fire. Until I read this history, I didn't even know you can make fire with bones, but they do a bone fire. And what happens when you stew it, it retains the maximum nutrition of the food. They would just slow roll it, slow stewing, and they would get the maximum nutrition out of all the food that they were cooking. And that's one of the reasons for stewing, is it makes tougher cuts of meat easy to eat. It tenderizes those tough cuts of meat. Think of wild game, or think of tough beef like a round steak. It takes a long time to cook that. And the longer and slower that you cook it, or like a turkey neck. And when I'm talking turkey necks, I'm not talking about those little necks that you have in your turkey. I'm talking about necks that are this long, and one end is about this big around. And I'm serious. And the small end's about this big, and these turkey necks are about this long. And this is what I use to smoke with. And that's the kind of turkey necks, because they have a lot of meat that I would actually be smothering down. That's right, Brian. You got a blue blooping, brother. And that blue bloop process is what makes this food so good. And once you start doing that, you can set a timer for like every 10 minutes. Just come back and just come back and work it a little bit. Make sure it's not sticking. Add a little bit of water. So it's about putting the water, reduce it. Put the water and reduce it. And you just keep doing that. And every time you do that, it's going to be really good and healthy. So why is stewing so healthy? The nutrients are locked in when you stew your food. So you're locking in the nutrients. You're consuming both the meat and the water that the meat was cooked in. So you aren't losing any of the nutrients out of everything you're cooking. That water is going to pick them all up. That ED White shirt, welcome to the club. Oh yeah, that's my grandson's basketball shirt. I think I put it on today in case he was watching. That's for you, Malcolm. Yeah, Hollywood, your cousin's here. All right, now we're starting to lose our water. Let's take a look. If I can find my flipper wherever I put it at. Well, I'm gonna find it in a little while. Oh well, because I was gonna go down the bottom of the pot, but I lost my flipper. Okay. Make sure I didn't put it under the pot because it ain't gonna be no good if I did. Oh, got it right here. Yeah, I was picking on the French bread and I moved it. I got something in my way. All right. Uh-oh. All right, there we go. Now you can see all the meat in the pot. You can see it's starting to make a little brown gravy over here. So that is, no, Darren, it's not in the pot. After me picking on that French bread before the show. And you see that brown gravy down there? So we get ready to lose that moisture in. And once we lose that moisture, it's going to start sticking. Well, Sharon, I just made a fresh batch of sausage, fresh batch of andouille. Everything is fresh. And even the owner's fresh. So it's a good time to come get some. Joy, make a little jambalaya po' tonight. And this is just so good. Something different if you want to bring on a parade route or anytime you want to, you can cook this and have it and it freezes well. And you can take it out the freezer and make it a po' boy or eat it over some. Man, I would eat this with grits. When it's finished, I would have this thing with grits in the morning. Now it's starting to stick. Listen, you can hear the stick. Oh, yeah. That sizzle sounding good. Now, if you want, which we're going to do tonight, we're going to add all these vegetables into the pot. When you add those vegetables, you're adding some more nutrition into the pot. What'd you say, Bobby? So the nutrition of all your vegetables are also going to get locked into the stew. It's make it more healthy. And, right now, everybody's trying to get more protein, especially as you get older, you need more protein to keep your muscle mass up. This is a dish right here just loaded with protein. When you eat this, you ought to better just high jump. Wrong, I made some good homemade deer vegetable soup. Just ate some. Is deer meat I'm using? That's what I was saving it for. But I couldn't resist. So I've already done I made a jambalaya for me, just experiment, and I put a little deer meat in it. You have to really cook this deer meat down first before you even start your jambalaya. And you have to stew it just like we're doing now. So if you're using pork, what's some good cuts to use for pork? Oh yeah, Creep. Let's see. I made that red bean gumbo delicious. Oh yeah, man, you can't go wrong with that. So some good pork to use, some cuts of pork to use for stewing. The cushion meat. That's what I make my andouille with. It's in the lower shoulder, right near the front leg. So anytime you have where you have a lot of movement around that muscle, it's going to be tough. So that's what you want to use. Also, Boston butt works well off of the shoulder. Now, Boston butt's going to be a little bit more tender and it's going to be a little bit more fatty, but it does work well. You just have to trim it a little bit and it's going to cook a little faster. Pork necks. People wouldn't believe how good pork neck bones are. And you buy the necks, because think of the hog split in half, so the neck's going to be flat like this. It's going to kind of look like that. And you're going to have the neck bone into the shoulder bone. You're going to have that shoulder bone on it. You cut it in pieces about this big, and about this long. And you just smother it down. Oh, you talk about good. And just bury it with onions. That's the key to it, is to bury it with onions. Also, country style ribs would work good in here. Now, what the country style ribs are the ones, that's the big old pork ribs that you buy that's always on sale. That's the ones that make, I call them the trashy ribs. That's the ones that really, really would make good, would do real well in this stewing process. Okay, what's happening? Love that temple meat. That would work good in here too. What did you say, Jill? Now, in fact, if you remember, a lot of people, if they grew up in my time, they had stewing chicken. And they used to advertise them as stewing chicken. These were old hens, usually 1.5 years to 3 years old. So I can remember my daddy saying, when that hen stopped laying, you had to go over there and kill that hen for Sunday dinner. And then my mom would take it all day, all morning, just slowly stew that chicken. And that was Sunday dinner, maybe with a roast or maybe with some cream potatoes, whatever, with some fresh potatoes. But today, it's getting really hard to find that stewing chicken. And I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, look down in the pot. We're starting to get our little stick, starting to get our gravy down there. That's what we want. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start pulling this meat out. I'm gonna bring it back later. I browned it, I've got the water out, and I've got a good little glaze on it. And like I said, a lot of people do their jambalayas like this. But when I cook my jambalaya, I don't have to put my meat in first because I will get into the stewing process on the meat. Okay. And boy, look, this stuff is sticking. It is smelling. Boy, if y'all can smell it inside this place right now. Okay, bring the onions in. Them onions, I'll start picking up all this stuff down at the bottom of this pot. As it releases the water out the onions, oh man. Buddy, how many BTUs does that burner have? I want to say it's either 20 or 25,000, Mike. It's up there. This thing rolls. No, it's more than that. I want to maybe it's 40,000. When I put the fire, and the fire is blue, the brightest blue you ever want to go see. This is a very clean burner, burning burner. Please explain the temple meat I keep hearing about. So temple meat comes from the temple meat of the hog. It comes from the temple. It used to be a cheap piece of meat. Not cheap no more because everybody wants it. Yeah, remember, you're getting it off the temple, not a lot of meat. So what happens is it was a piece of trash meat at one time. Nobody wanted it, and it's very lean. It was really good for jambalaya. And that's what everybody started using. Well, it got very expensive. What used to be trash ain't trash no more. So now what I like to use cushion meat. Cushion meat is very lean. It's like the temple meat, and it doesn't have a high fat content, so it's going to give you some good flavor. So now I'm going to bring my onions, my celery, and my mushrooms in. Man, you know you got to have some mushrooms in this thing. And we're going to start cooking this down. So Howard, I hope I explained that to you. It was something they used to sell for 50 cents a pound, probably sells for close to $3 a pound right now. $2.50 to $3 a pound. Went way up because the demand went way up for it. Is it good? It's pork. It's good. But I'm going to say that no better than cushion meat or no better than Boston butt. Only thing with Boston butt, you have a high fat content and you'll get a lot of waste trying to use it for jambalaya. Take a peek in that pot and you see the brown starting to build up right here. So every time I put that water in, I'm giving this pot a little loving. Every time the onion starts sticking, you go down here and you give it a little bit loving. Because that pot needs loving just like everybody else. And every time I do that, I'm picking that green meat off the bottom of that pot. This is a lot of flavor on the bottom of this pot. Don't lose it. Don't skip this process. It takes a little time. Now, the stewing chicken, up until about the mid-70s, the late 70s, you saw newspaper articles almost you can find newspaper articles every day about buying stewing chickens and with how to cook them. After the late 70s, the articles started going down. By the 90s, flatline. Very, very few articles about stewing chickens. The reason why, and it's hard to find good stewing chickens anymore. And you always hear me, and that's an old hen, okay? So you always hear me say, get an old hen to make it gumbo. They're really hard to find. And the reason is they're pushing these chickens out young, and they're called fryers. And this is what you do. This is what the restaurants are using for fried chicken. And these fryers are young chickens. And if you try to stew them, they're just going to fall apart. You're not going to get the flavor out. That's why it's hard to make sticky chicken anymore. Sticky chicken was just a way of stewing your chicken. And so you need some tough cuts, and it's just not there anymore. So before modern times, chickens could be 1 to 3 years old when it was killed for stewing. When the hen quit laying, you stewed the chicken. And I can remember my daddy telling me when Papa said, boy, go kill that chicken. If you kill the wrong chicken, you only did it once. You learned. That was a valuable lesson coming to you. Oh, Daz. Oh, yeah. You know it, brother. You know it, Daz. Everything's good, man. Okay. Cool. Lord, we got some flavor building in this pot. Oh, Brandon. Late for my Wednesday appointment to watch party. You ain't never late, brother. Whenever you join in, you're right on time. So they had a 1982 newspaper article, and it talked about the stewing chickens hard to find. Good stewing hens are hard to find these days. And if you do find them, there's one thing you have to make sure, and this is hard if they're frozen. You have to make sure they're firm. Remember Mr. Whipple, don't squeeze the showman. You want to squeeze that hen. You want to make sure it's firm because now they send it to the market because it's too skinny. It's too skinny to use anywhere else. And so you have to be careful that you get a good one. You want that nice plump hen, and it's going to be really good, and you won't be sorry, especially when you make a gumbo. My mama always had a hen that made gumbo. So let's take another peek in the pot. And you can see the colors are starting to come in. You can see that green meat starting to come out the bottom of that pot. Now let me get a little water in here. Let me get a little stock in here. Oh, Roy, you smelling it? That smell-o-vision's working in, brother. Now you can see the color coming in this gravy. And this is going to make a difference when we bring our meat back in. And what we're doing also, a lot of people when they cook jambalaya, they want to use kitchen bouquet. And I could tell the rookies, they'll have their kitchen bouquet board and they're ready to make their color. If you do it this way, you won't have to bring your kitchen bouquet in. You can actually take your time, and if you take your time and just keep stewing this meat, you're gonna nail this. Rocky, am I open tonight? Just for you, Rocky. Just for you, brother. But look, don't come to 5 o'clock. I got a Cajun cooking experience tomorrow. I got 2 people coming tomorrow to do the Cajun cooking experience. And we're going to be doing the same process, making jambalaya. So tonight we make it without the rice, and tomorrow we make it with the rice. Okay. Oh, I love that sound when that water hits that hot pot. And you want to get these onions nice and brown. That's going to help us build our flavor in here. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring my bell peppers in. You know I like all those colors. They're pretty, plus it's from bitter to sweet. They call that bittersweet. So let's talk about if you want to have some beef for stewing. You know, so venison is very good for stewing. It's going to take you a long time. It's a tough piece of meat. A chuck, a top and bottom round, and a bottom sirloin. All these cuts are from the well-exercised muscles, like the shoulder or the round or the sirloin. And they have a lot of connective tissues in them. So it develops a deep flavor as you cook it. The more you cook it, the better it gets. Hey, Laurie, welcome to the show. And if anybody kicked on the show and I'm not seeing their name, if you pick me up, you're just going through Facebook and you pick me up in the feed, it will not come to one of my pages. You have to go to Spuddy's Cajun Foods, Facebook or YouTube, and pick up the live feed on there. But you have to go to a channel for me to pick you up. To pick up your comment. So those tough piece of meat, and I can remember Mama, one of the things she used to cook a lot of is 7 steaks. You take them 7 steaks. If you ever had them, that's neck chops. We'll talk about the neck bone. There's your beef neck bone. And those 7 steaks, and they had a little bone like a number 7 in there. And those 7 steaks, you would brown them and just then come back with the onions and all, make a little, and then when you brown them and come in, we can make a little gravy with it. Oh, and just let it slow cook. Let it stew. Them old cheap old 7 steaks were damn good. I should make us some cream potatoes or maybe some have it with some beans. 7 steaks went with anything. Okay. Man, this pot is smoking right here. It's hot behind this pot. But damn, it's smelling good. Okay. And you just keep giving that pot a little loving so you can get these onions down, get them cooked down. Now, one of the things you can do, and I will do it, if you want to stretch this, where you want to build a little gravy with it, put in about a half a cup of flour. I'm going to add a little flour to the top of this, and I'm going to kind of squash that flour down so that, and if you want to use almond flour, cassava, all-purpose flour, whatever one you want to use is going to work fine. Or if you want to build this thing, at the end, just add a little cornstarch to thicken it. You can do that if that's what you want to do. If you're going to use it, not on the po' boy, but maybe to serve over something, I would definitely make a little gravy. And if you make a little gravy and put it on the po' boy, you're just going to have a sloppy po' boy. And a lot of times when I'm doing research on food, and I'm looking at old, I look at old newspapers. This is the process. Once you get away from South Louisiana, you get away from this French territory, German territory, all this territory, from the river parishes to New Orleans, you get away from all this French influence where you have rules, and you go further up north. I'm talking about North Louisiana. This is how they make their gumbos, their stews and everything. They would do the stewing process. And a lot of times they would talk about stewing that hen. Roy, I did 7 yesterday, Spud. Man, that's some good stuff over rice. Roy, was you able to get them with the bone in? So I'm finding it's hard to find them these days. And if you did, where? Because I'm going to get me some. Might cook them on the show. I haven't had a 7 steak in years. And you see, all this takes a little time to do it. You got to layer these flavors. But once you get it, I know, Dino, hard to find any kind of good stuff like that. They got neck chops, they call them, and they're taking the bone out. I don't want that. I want some bone. Cox Meat Market? Oh, thank you, brother. I should have known that. Ooh, that Modelo's going down good with all this work. Now, something I like to do when I'm browning this, and it helps my coloring process, I'll bring a little hot sauce in. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this might choke you out. This stuff gets pretty tough in here. But scorch at the bottom of this pot a little bit, and that's actually going to help build your color and build some flavor into this thing. Now, if I'm doing my big pots, and I'm doing big pots of jambalaya, and I'm doing this, I'm flapping inside the pot so it can kind of burn inside that pot. But I'm telling you, have some ventilation because it's going to choke you. Oh, man. Look at the color in this thing here. Now, let's go ahead and bring the meat back in. We're going to start smothering down our meat. Oh, Claude, y'all don't think I'm going to let all this flavor get out this pan, do you? Oh, y'all? Shit. Got to have this flavor. Got to move to the iron spoon. Okay. This be the same way. When people ask me how I cook my jambalaya, I go through the same process, just like this. And every time we do this gravy down here is going to get a little darker. Let's take a look down in the pot. See, I'm starting to get a little color in this gravy. This gravy is getting ready to get really, really rich. And to help it along, remember I told you about the flour? I'm using a little almond flour tonight. I'm just gonna sprinkle it over there. About a half a cup. You don't need a lot. And that's gonna help thicken my gravy later on. Now, in a lot of old recipes, what they would do, let's say they were doing chicken or any kind of thing, anything they were stewing, they would pass it through flour first, dredge it through flour, and then they would fry it. That would help build their roux. Except for us over here in the French area, they didn't make a roux. They didn't make a roux like, a cup of flour, a cup of oil, and all that. You very seldom saw this in the old recipes. What they would do is what we're doing here and add that flour, and that would actually build their gravy and give them a little roux flavor. And your flour is going to scorch to the bottom of this pot, and it's going to get that kind of like making a dry roux, okay? I live in Luton and cannot find round steaks with that bone. No calf round steak, the cow. Okay, Adrian, go to Cox Meat Market and Reserve. That's where Roy went. That meat market's been there. Look, it's been there longer than me. So if they don't have it, it's gonna be hard to find. It's one of the only true meat markets that's left. When I was a little boy, they used to come around in the trucks, Cox Rolling Meat Market. All right, man. There's nothing but love and flavor in this pot. See the gravy building up in there? Y'all can see it? Oh. So every time you give this pot a little loving, we're getting more and more gravy. And as this meat tenderizes, hey, Charmaine, as this meat tenderizes, it's letting out more flavor. And all your nutrition is staying in this pot, okay? I made your jambalaya a couple of times. It was a huge hit. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that, brother. Look, people come here, do the Cajun cooking experience. One of the things they want to learn how to do is jambalaya. Teach them a very simple way of doing it. And believe it or not, this is it. What? No love for the cane farmer? Oh, Howard, we ain't got there yet. It's coming, brother. Give it a little time. It's coming. But give them a simple way to cook that jambalaya so they can go home and do the same thing. Same thing with a gumbo. They want to learn how to cook gumbo, and they want to learn how to cook jambalaya. Two things they want to learn. We had a group yesterday. We also did some smothered okra. That smothered okra was slamming. And we did it with a little shrimp. Now I'm going to bring the rest of this little flour in. Like I said, I had a half a cup total. You can send that love and flavor up to Marshall, the deer camp. Gee, brother-in-law, I love my brother-in-law, but I don't know if he's going to get some of this. Woo! And, like I said, a lot of protein, a lot of nutrition in here. And to serve this, oatmeal grits, I would eat it in the morning, quinoa rice, I don't care what it is, on a wrap, on some bread, over a baked potato, whatever you want to do with it. Now, one of the most famous stews is the Irish stew. That was made with mutton, potatoes, onions, and parsley. It originated in Ireland, but it appears in cookbooks all over Europe. So Ireland, and that was a stew. Mostly are like stews, but were for poor people. They were people that were struggling, and the way to stretch food was to stew it. They had another stew. It's called medieval pottage stew. It was just another name for a thick, rich stew is all it was. And that was made by the peasants during the Middle Ages. Or how when we make that gravy, when that gravy is going to start coming in, we're going to give that love to the sugarcane farmers. It was a bad year this year. We got to help them out a little bit. Okay. Let's go ahead and look down at the bottom of the pot. You see that gravy building up now. See that brown coming in? And one of the things they do when we over there and we're doing a Cajun cooking experience, I always have French bread. Now watch me. See me dipping that bread? Let's get back to the top. So I'll dip that bread in that gravy. And they're starting off, they have no idea what this is going to taste like. This is your first convincer. They are convinced that this thing is going to be awesome. Woo. It's not even good yet, and it's good. Y'all, this is some good stuff. Now, another stew we've cooked this on the show before, was the hobo stew. Better known, we know it as the mulligan stew. And hobo stew, around the Depression, before the Depression, in the Depression, people would jump on trains and just travel to different cities, trying to find work, trying to find their way out of poverty. So you have what they call hobo camps. Everybody that was in that hobo camp, what they would do, they would go out all day, beg, borrow, steal, whatever they could, to bring something back to the hobo camp at night where everybody got to eat. So you go take something out of somebody's garden, or you go knock on the door and ask them for a donation, whatever it took. And at night, they would line up and put their little cans over the fire, and they would cook them all the stew. And that's the whole camp. Now today we call that same stew a mulligan stew. Now what I want to do is, I want to test this piece of pork just to see how far we're coming with this. Still a little ways to go. Every time I give it loving, this gravy's getting better and better. Now, this is the time that I would add a little extra water in, okay? And it's the bloop bloop time, where you put this thing on very, very low. And you would let it on simmer, just bloop. And that's gonna just slow cook it till this meat gets tender. Now, we're not gonna do that tonight because we're pushing it to finish. What I like is every bit of nutrition in this meat that we're cooking is staying in this pot. That's what I like about it. I'm gonna do the same thing with this piece of deer meat. I know it's not tender. I just want to see how far along we are. Still hot. Now, if you're gonna use deer meat, make sure you cut it small, bite size. It's gonna cook faster if you do it this way. It's about halfway right now, just like the pork. Yeah, this thing is kicking. Time to bring some more stock in. Now, the way I made my stock tonight, at Boston butt bone out of the Boston butt, the shoulder bone, you take that and you boil it. You let it boil for a couple hours, slow. You don't have to boil it, just a slow simmer, a little bloop bloop in the pot and just let it cook. I took all my ends of my vegetables and some bay leaf, put it in there and so I let that boil for about 15 minutes. Took that out and then put the shoulder blade in. Let's go down to the bottom of this pot. Look at the gravy down here. This pot has nothing but love in it. This gravy has nothing but love in it. And let's come on back up. Time to switch. Ooh. You see the bread got a lot darker? Okay. Remember that flavor I had at the bottom of this pot? Time to bring it in. Never, ever waste flavor. Oh. If only that pot could talk. You know, this is actually my first black iron pot I bought for me. It's the year I was buying this place. So I went riding to Lamandolas and Gonzales. And this pot was there. I don't know what I paid for it, maybe $100. But I bought this pot, so it's 32 years ago, maybe 32, 33 years ago. And this pot, it started off rough, it's smooth, it's well seasoned. This pot's done some stuff, and you're right, Michael. If it could talk, it would blow your mind. So what I want to do now, I want to get a little taste of this gravy because we're going to start seasoning this meat now. Okay. Ooh. Let's start bringing some seasoning in here. I'll bring a little hot sauce in. A little touch of black pepper. A little cayenne. Now, be careful. Just take it light. We're going to build these seasonings a little bit at a time, okay? A little Himalayan rock salt. A little Himalayan salt. I'm only bringing half of this spoon in right now. And Howard said, what about them sugar cane farmers getting some loving? Why not? Time to give them the loving now. And let's go back down in that pot. I think. Okay. There's your gravy. This is the key. If you want to make a good jambalaya, this is what you want to see. And that color right there, that's going to be the color of your rice if you go ahead and go all the way with a jambalaya. Well, Mark, what's happening, brother? Thank you, man. That color of that gravy is going to be the color of your rice. Now, let's say that you want to cook a red jambalaya. Right now is the time you'd bring you some tomato in. If I was cooking a red jambalaya and I want some red, I'd bring me some tomato sauce in here, and I'd bring me some chopped tomatoes in and a little rotel. And then you would have a red rice. Now, a lot of people won't go through the trouble of making this gravy, this deep brown, if they're going to make a red jambalaya. They'd put the tomato sauce. After they smothered their meat, they just put the tomato sauce and the tomatoes in a long time ago. But to me, you're going to have a deeper flavor. Okay. Add a little bit more stock in it. Uh-oh. All right. I think the pepper got me. So what we're doing, every time we bring a little stock in, and it comes back to the ball, we're reducing it. And this is the key to the whole stewing process. It's about bringing it up, bringing it down, bringing it up, and just go back and forth like this. And every time you do that, you get more nutrition in this pot. You get more flavor in this pot. And that's one of the things that when people come here and they cook with me, if they learn that this is not in a rush. This is the diner. This is what's dying on. This is how Mama used to cook, my mom used to cook. But this is dying because we have a fast-paced world. We don't have time to do this anymore. This is why we're losing our Cajun cooking culture. Because the world's in a rush, but Spud Man's not. Ah. If this don't make you dance, you ain't got no rhythm. Want to taste of this gravy again? There's something I do too. So I'll season it. I'll season this food at this time, and I'll let them taste it. And they go, ooh, that's salty. Ooh, that's pepper. I'm setting them up. So when I come back with the water, they'll taste it and they say, oh, it's not salty and pepper anymore. And it's just to show them the different ways. And then when they taste the water, when you taste that water for your jambalaya, It's got to be a little bit salty, a little bit pepper before you add the rice. The rice is going to pick up a lot of flavor. Since I'm not putting rice on this, I have to make it the way I like it, the way I'm going to eat it, not the way I want it if I was making a jambalaya. Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. A little bit more salt. And a little touch of black pepper, but the pecan is going to be pretty good in this pot now. And one thing about this, you can use any kind of meat you want. You can use any kind of vegetables you want. If you want to bring potatoes in, fine. If you want to bring carrots in, fine. If you want to bring anything you want to bring in here, it's going to work. Because, you know, I call it survival food. It's about what you had is what you made a dish out of. This is where we get so much of our culture from, our cooking culture, because people took what they had and turned it into one hell of a good meal. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now the seasoning should be good in it. Oh, yeah. Remember that Boston butt bone? That meat off that bone? There it is. Y'all. I wish y'all could be here to taste this. Holy cow. They ain't got no 5-star gourmet restaurant gonna give you food like this. But you see, if you come to the gourmet Spanish Cajun cooking experience, we're gonna teach you how to cook it. Oh, yeah. Again, I brought my stock in. I'm gonna reduce it a little bit. And one of the things, got a wrap. You can make a wrap with this. No tortilla here. Better bring my parsley in. I got my baked potato. If you want to serve this over a baked potato, one of the best baked potatoes you ever gonna eat. Can't wait to come home and eat your restaurant again. Well, Philip, you're not gonna eat at the restaurant because the restaurant's closed. But if you come over here one Wednesday night and watch the Cajun cooking experience live, you can eat after. Okay. Ooh, man. This is it. I want to check a piece of the meat. And I need a piece of pork. I know what I'm going to do is sausage is going to be ready. Manny. Oh, yeah, Manny. Best gumbo I ever made was with your sausage. I love the way you think, brother. Tender, juicy. Yeah, Manny. It's been a little while, brother. And you got this good gravy. Oh, brother Clark, what's up, my brother? Woo-hoo. Yeah. Clark Lewis, our sheriff of St. James Parish. I think we need to take a vote. If Clark just come cook on my show live one night with me. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Woo. Okay, here we go. First thing I'm gonna do, anytime, Claude. You're always welcome, brother. I'm gonna take this po' boy. The way I like to do it, you see you now. But I take that po' boy. I'll put me some good food, some good meat down that po' boy bread. Gotta give it a little stuffing. Oh yeah. And that's how I would do it if I was gonna bring in a parade route. Now I wrapped it up with some foil, put that in the ice chest. Now, you're gonna need that foil, and you're gonna need a plate to put it in when you bring it out because it's probably gonna be nice and wet and sloppy, just like old roast beef. So bring you some wet one. The boys are gonna be good. And everybody be going, I wish I had what that dude's going to eat over there. So I'm going to put this on the side right now. Let it cool off before I bite into it. Now, I love wraps. Take this. Sheila. Oh, thank you, baby. It is good. Make your little wrap. Put that up here. Put this thing together. And it's going to fall apart. Because it's nice and wet. But boys are going to be good. It's like packing a muzzle loader. Except it explodes in your mouth. You got that right, Michael? And now's the time to put this sucker blooping. Little bloop bloop going on. And the other thing, all right, is to serve it over this baked potato. Some of the ways that you can do this, and I'm gonna let my gravy get a little bit thick. Now remember, tomorrow, you cook it the night before you're gonna go to the parade, then just warm it up the next day. This gravy is gonna be a little thicker. This is gonna thicken up and you cool it. Put it in the ice box. But you let it cook down, you're gonna put it, you're gonna make po' boys with it and bring it on a route. You wanna let the more water cook out of it. Hey, Peppy, thank you, man. Okay, now, a little baked potato. And if you wanted to take this, scrape your potato out, bring some of this in and mix it all up and restuff it. Excellent. A restuffed baked potato. Oh. Man, if you don't like baked potato, it's going to be a good one. Oh, Robert, thank you. Y'all. I got a little gravy left right here. Put it over that baked potato. You know what I'm thinking of when I'm doing this and I'm biting into this? I have a song in my mind. You know I can dance, you know I can dance. Turkey neck. Tim back there, really? Come on, dude. Darren, you won't regret it. Just a simple meal. This is simple. Looking for something, I don't know what to cook. What's good about it is, if you don't have 2, 3, 4 people in the house, this is awesome. This is perfect. Perfect. Because you don't have all these leftovers left over. I mean, you don't have to, what am I gonna do with all these leftovers? Now, if you got a lot of grandkids or something, go ahead and make your stew because they come in, them buzzards come and eat. Oh, I'm in love. Oh, shook up. Man, this is good. That's right, Claude. You can't beat that fresh French bread. Okay. And then we got the wrap. Man, I'm not back to shipping yet. I had a lot of bad luck last year with shipping. bad luck. Okay, there it is. I just turned it off. This right here, it's going to be ready tomorrow to eat. It's ready tonight to eat. Oh, yeah. And look like a cool Modelo with it too. Let's see. It looks like without the bread and potato, Mike, without the bread and potato, it is basically, you have very little carbs in here. It's very low carb, high protein. Now, it'll have the high fat content, but it's all healthy fats. There you go, brother. Good excuse to get in person. So there it is. What I did, y'all saw when I put that chicken in, the chicken's shredded in here. And that's the way I want it. Not in my jambalaya, but if I want to make a sandwich with it, I want that chicken to shred. So if you look in here, I'm gonna bring it up to the camera. These pieces of chicken have shredded. I don't know if it's hard to see, but I can see it all up in this pot. So a chicken shredding like that gave it a really, really good flavor. So, y'all, I'm telling you, try it. Go buy you some trashy cuts of meat. You have some, if somebody gives you some deer, good to do it with that. Or if you get some pork, get some tough cuts of pork. And I promise you, but I'm gonna tell you one piece of pork, don't do it with a pork loin. Like a boneless pork loin. To me, it just doesn't have the flavor of those tough pieces of meat. Plus the boneless pork loin is gonna cook too fast. It's gonna cook just like that. Okay. So don't buy anything good. Get your trashy pieces. Thank you, Randy. This sucker is slamming. So y'all, that's it for tonight. Call it the Jambalaya Po-Boy. Call it the Jambalaya wrap. Call it the Jambalaya stuffed potato. But anything you call it, I just call it damn good. Good night, y'all. Love y'all. We're gonna see y'all next week. Y'all have a good weekend.